thank the Lord for everybody that's here today, and thank you for this message from mine we're about to receive, and bless those that aren't with us today. Let everybody have a good day, Lord.
Amen. Thank you, buddy.
So, trick question. What is the most valuable thing and the most invaluable thing?
That's a trick.
Life.
You're close, Carrie. You're really
Soul.
close. Huh?
Soul.
Oh no, that's the most valuable thing. What do you think it is? It's time.
And
A few weeks ago, wow. Now I got Jim Croce singing around Artie says time in a bottle. Last week, or a week or so ago, I stumbled across a video. And this video was of an old guy. And this old guy was sitting there and he was talking about how we place value upon a thing. And he said the most important commodity that we as humans possess is time. He says time is a thing that we have so little of. And he says that as we get older, we have even less. Think about it, Carrie. You know, and I know that you and I have talked about it, and I see it upon you. How rare is the days that you feel good? How
You and
how
far between.
special, huh?
You and far between.
How special are them days?
Really.
Yeah. And you think about these things, it talks about guarding your time. I was talking to a lady the other day, was finishing up her house, and I said something. She says, well, I'm going to remember that. I said, well, I'm going to tell you something. I said, anything worth remembering is worth writing down. Because at our age, if you trust your memory on things, what's the odds of you remembering it? It's here, it's there, it's gone, because something else will come up and it'll steal it. I went through my phone the other day because I finished out this project, and I deleted 30-something notes I had from this project. At least 12 of these notes were called Mike's final list of final things to do. Think about it, I had 12 final lists of things to do. Every day I'd go in there and I would tell Jacob, you know, I'd tell him to do something, then I'd look up and he didn't do it. And I'm like, dude, my problem is that if I say, hey, I need you to do this and you don't do it, my problem that I have is that with my experience with humanity, it's somewhat of a negative experience now, just being honest with you, because I've had too many negative experiences. And so if I ask somebody to do something and they don't do it, the nice side of me says what? They just forgot. We always want to say they just forgot. But sometimes the reality of thing is that if we ask somebody to do it and they don't do it, it depends upon if you're a negative person like I'm slowly have become, is they didn't want to do it. They chose to not do it. And the thing is that time is somewhat relatable to this, because, you know, like I was telling that lady, she said, well, you know, I said, well, if you think about this thing, I said, if you're around a person whose words are not worth remembering, and as precious as time is, Dory, why would you be around that person? If that person is not adding something positive to your life, if time is rare, think about this thing, Carrie. You're having a great day, one of them rare days that you feel good. Dory, one of them rare days that you actually want to go outside and work. And then somebody comes and steals that time. What do? You know, you're like, well, I can't get rid of you. Well, the thing is that you just gave the single most valuable, precious thing in your life away to what? somebody you didn't. So the thing is that I just be honest with you. I have gotten to the point, and you know, it's like there's few people in the world, you know, so like Artie, that I care about as much as I care about Artie. Very few. And the thing is that I move within a circle of time, and if it doesn't fit within the circle of time, I've got something else I'm trying to accomplish. And so I don't like to, because if I call or something and I'm in that moment that I've got a free moment of my life that I've got to say something or I want to get it done, if I move beyond this time, the next time I talk to you, I may be doing something else, or it's just like this morning. I mean, we've got, because what the habit we've gotten off into now, because my life and my schedule has changed. You know, used to be, I would wake up in the morning, I'd have my breakfast, going to work, Dory, I would eat lunch during the day, and then at night I wouldn't eat anything because I eat a big lunch. Now I don't eat breakfast, I don't eat lunch. When I come home at night, that's when I eat. So that's my time now to do. And so we've rebuilt everything into this schedule, and we're building it around these segments of time, and everything that we're doing I have to try to accomplish within a concept of time. So like this morning, you know, I'm cooking ribs. Well, ribs should be cooked at the 3-2-1 method. 3 hours at one temperature, take them off, wrap them up for 2 hours, cook them for 2 hours temperature, the last hour take them off, and that's when all the smoking happens. So I have to think back, start my grill, start everything in the morning, try to time everything, because you know what we've gotten off into is like, perfect example, Jacob and I went to Harps the other day, and when I walk in Harps, what I look for is the clearance food. I love the marked down meat, because I'm going to take that meat, Carrie, and I'm going to cook that meat. It's already a lot cheaper than what it normally was. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to vacuum seal it. And when I come home in the evenings, guess what I've got, Dory? I've got anything that I want. I just walk out there. You know, I don't like TV dinners. I don't like pre-made stuff. I want to be able to pull something that I vacuum sealed out, because, again, time. I try to manage my time. I try to think about my time. I try to think about what's my time wasters. I try to think about, do I want to be involved in this? Time is a teacher. Time is a horrible master. Time is a hard lesson. Time is a very valuable commodity. Last night, Amber and I was talking about being eternal. In other words, when we're kids, when we're teenagers, when we're young adults, what do we think that we are? Eternal. Seriously. Because we have no concept of just how little. Carrie mentioned a while ago, she's got a disease that's killing her. And the thing is that we've all got a disease that's killing us, but yours is actually rapidly approaching theirs, even putting you to this place. And so the thing is that I think that once we create an awareness of a thing, that's why I have notes, because it brings it to my awareness. If I have something in my awareness, I can do something to impact that. I don't like, I told a person, well, I told Jacob the other day, Jacob was in there mad, and something wasn't going right, and what it was, he fell into a sucker bet. I can tell you about his sucker bet, because it deals with time. I said, Jacob, I said, I'll make you a deal. If we get this house done by noon, I'll buy your lunch. Okay, great. But if it takes till 1:30, you buy my lunch. Okay. Now you think about that thing. What do you think the next thing that I told him? I said, now we're going to plan on starting tomorrow about 11. Because I'm going to be in control of winning my lunch. You know, I'm setting you up. We don't think about that because we just bought into it. And so the thing is that when he knew that the time was running out and he had already crossed that line because it wasn't going as fast, because what happens every time we start getting frustrated? Does time move faster? Time move slower? Time doesn't change, but our concept of time changes. You know, think about this thing. When you're late, Every second is just like, oh my gosh, it goes faster and faster and faster. But again, it's this pressure. And so I was in there and I was listening to him. And man, he was frustrated because, as he said, you finished the whole bathroom and I've got 2 pieces down. Why? That's what he said, why? I said, Jacob, I said, listen to you. I said, it's going to sound hard. I said, but you're acting. I said, how old are you? He says, 22. And I said, and you're acting like you're 12. He said, what do you mean? I said, you are letting your emotions rule you. You are not supposed to be ruled by your emotions. You are supposed to rule your emotions. We are not supposed to be ruled by time. We are supposed to rule our time. Because time, if you look into it, and we're going to talk about this later as we're going to develop this thing, because I think that we need to have an awareness of time. So if we go to Psalms 144:4, it tells us what time is. It says, man is like to vanity, his days are as a shadow that passeth away. So his days are as a shadow. And I love it. It says, a man are like to vanity. So in other words, we think that our days are going to last forever because that's the vanity of it. That's the vanity to think that we are important, that we are accomplishing something. The thing is that if you think about it, he says we are like a shadow. Good morning. So this shadow that they're talking about is to self. It means a shadow or a shade. It's a transitory thing. And what it alludes to when you talk about a shade, or a shadow, you've got 2 different shadows, you've got 2 different shades. One shadow is like an oak tree. We have an oak tree that's out there. How old, Amber, would you guess? We talked about this several times. You think about it, we got an oak tree that if we took 4 of us, we could not reach around it. How old is that oak tree?
300 years old.
Who? a bare minimum of 300 years. So the thing is that when the United States was being formed into a nation,
That oak tree is born.
that oak tree was somewhere, maybe that big around. How long has that shadow of that tree been there? A long time. The thing is that shadow of that tree, how does the shadow of a tree affect things? Well, if you want to grow something, Carrie, how does that affect it? It greatly does, doesn't it? You don't plant a flower that wants full sun. You don't plant it in the shade. What happens, Dory? It won't bloom. It won't do right. It'll grow. It will exist, but it doesn't do anything. We think that our shadow, the measure of our time as it passes, makes a difference. That is not the shadow or shade that it talks about. The key word is transitory. What does that mean? Transitory.
Transitory word.
In a transition.
It's just passing. So what it's talking about, it says that our time is a passing shadow. What it really, really means is, think about this thing. If it's a hot day, where do you want to be? In the shade. Okay?
In my boat.
The thing is that this shadow that it's talking about by man's shadow is the shadow of a bird that's hovering. And so, David, for that split second, you're sitting there, and I think, matter of fact, it was Zane and I the other night, we were standing outside, and I seen a shadow on the ground. And I looked up, and there's this whole flock of vultures that were basically hovering in the evenings, getting ready to go to bed. And for that one moment, I seen his shadow on the ground. We've all been there and looked up, and we've seen a shadow moving across the ground. And we look up, it might be a cloud, it might be somebody walking by, but it tells you in that moment that shadow is there, and then it's gone. it talks about that man's time is vanity.